Welcome to 2024. I'm W.P. Swarzer, and I'm going to talk to you about the quantity theory of money. Now might be a good time to play with the brightness on your computer. I have tried to optimize the lighting here as best as I can. So go ahead and try your brightness so you can best see what's on the board. This is my darkest blue. The quantity theory of money. Now, I'm going to explain the equation to you, and then I'll have four scenarios: Say's law, followed by the classical critique, monetarist advice, which I call, and then we'll end with Keynes. All right, so we'll have four examples. Now, the first thing I show you is the quantity theory of money. I'm going to try not to talk to the board, the quantity theory of money. So the quantity theory of money is compact and powerful. So it is this: money times velocity. Velocity is the number of times money changes possession in a year, equals price times quantity. So what's being said is it's not just the amount of money in an economy, it's how fast it changes hands. So you could have two economies with the same presence of money, but with one only having half as much printed money as the other, but that printed money moving twice as fast. So it's money times velocity. You can think of physics in car accidents. It's not just the weight of the vehicle, it's the weight of the vehicle times velocity. On the other side, we have prices times quantity. Now, quantity represents the quantity of goods and services in an economy. Prices are the prices at which those goods and services are exchanged. So looking at this, it's not just actual output, it's prices. When economists study developing economies, they expect them to grow rapidly, but they are always wondering, how much of that growth can be attributed to inflation. So you'll have an emerging economy growing at 10% a year, but it'll have 5, 6, 7% inflation. So their real growth is only 3 or 4%. So most people are more familiar with the right side of the equation, which is it's not just actual output, it's actual output times prices. Now, I want to introduce you to my shorthand. I'm not going to use positive and negative symbols. There's no such thing as any of these elements being negative. So what I'll do is I'll use up and down arrows. And for a fixed value, or one that doesn't change or hardly changes at all, I'll use a bar over it. So in statistics, you'll have, say, x prime, which means mean. For me, that would be x bar. And what it means here is x is stuck in a position. All right. Let us do our first scenario. Our first scenario is going to be the classical critique. So using this equation right here, the classical critique is this. Velocity is fixed. Velocity is determined by ATMs, PayPal, Apple Pay, however we're able to exchange money. Also, classicists say that the quantity of goods and services gravitates to natural. So, for any time being, not over time, but for any particular moment or in a short run, output is gravitating towards its natural, and velocity is determined by non-economic factors. So, if an economy expands its money supply, that expansion transfers directly to prices. I call this the classical critique. So you talk to a classicist and say, hey, we're going to use some snazzy monetary policy. We're going to inject money into this economy. They would retort, the only thing you're going to create is inflation. Okay, so that's well known. the other item that I wanted to talk about first is Say's Law. Now, the thing about Say's Law is Say said that any depression any recession, any slump in an economy can be resolved by discounting. So Say's Law looks like this. If we have a stable money supply, stable velocity, any downward pressure exerted on the right-hand side of this equation quickly gets transferred to prices. So I know you're asking, well, where's the downward pressure coming from if your left side is fixed? Well, if the money supply contracts or if velocity slows, though classicists are quick to say that velocity is constant and is certainly predictable. So classicists say that velocity is pretty much constant and it is definitely predictable. So wherever it's coming from on the left side, there's downward pressure. Whatever downward pressure that is exerted on the right side quickly encounters a stubborn Q, and it is passed over to prices. So what we have is deflation, and that's what Say's Law is all about. That any economic slump is cured by discounting. I like this quantity theory of money because it's so simple, it's so compact, yes, yet it's so powerful. Okay, what about monetarist advice that I've nicknamed? All right, monetarists are classicists, and classicists say that the only thing money is fancy paper. Like meeting fitness freaks, they say the only thing ages is a number. So what's being said here is that, well, velocity is consistent. It's determined by technology. It's determined by non-economic factors. And what anyone ought to want, are stable prices. So over time, if your output grows because of technology, because of advances, the monetarists concede or admit that if the economy is growing, if natural output is growing, then such natural growth can accommodate money growth. So monetarists will say the money supply can be expanded without triggering inflation so long as it grows at the same rate at which output grows. Compact, powerful quantity theory of money. Okay, now it's finally time to talk about Keynes. Keynes was more radical than any of these classicists, and here's what Keynes said. Keynes said that velocity is not consistent, and if it is predictable, we can predict its roller coaster ride. We can see or anticipate how variable it's going to be. So during a panic, Keynes says velocity crashes. People hoard whatever little money they have. So even if you start pumping money into an economy that's beset by a panic, Keynes said the velocity is crashing. So you're trying to expand your money supply, but velocity is crashing. So this left side is going to be negative. The pressure is going to be downward. Now you go over here to this side, and Keynes talked about his ratchet effect, or the ratchet effect. So he said, discounting is scant. Discounting is meager. So what we have here with Keynes is that the left side of this equation is collapsing. The downward pressure transfers to the right side. Some downward pressure is quickly applied to prices that reject it, that because of the ratchet effect, don't go down much. So The only result from a panic or a scare or a depression or a sharp recession is that the quantity of output goes down. So Keynes said that the government must attack or stimulate actual output right away because there's no other remedies available. There are none other remedies available. So I hope this is clear. I hope it wasn't too long. I hope you could see this. I encourage you to play with the brightness on your computer. The quantity theory of money, I was too late to discover in my economics career. It's really a beautiful idea because it is so compact, yet it is so powerful. I encourage you to play around with it and see how well it expresses your ideas. Thank you for watching.